be February, but there is spring in the air this evening. Of course, this is a little bit of a later edition of the forecast update than usual, but I wanted to make sure, since we have kind of a late event tonight, that I took my time and allowed a couple of weather balloons to go up and that sort of thing for us to really get a better picture of what we're looking at tonight. And we have our first watch here. A severe thunderstorm watch has been issued. This does not include Ellis County, nor does it include the surrounding areas, Navarro, Hill, or Johnson. It begins just at Dallas, Tarrant, and Parker counties and on north. And you can see we already have some of these storms firing and already have a severe thunderstorm warning out there. So really the storms have been confined to this area. And the consistent message here really has been that this should be kind of the dividing line. We really shouldn't see much south of I-20 tonight. That said, it does look like we could see a thin line of showers, perhaps a few thunderstorms moving through, but the models have not really shown much in terms of severe weather moving through our area. There's a couple of things I want to show you. First, our current temperatures. We're warm out there, 76, 77, 78 degrees out there. And, you know, the temperatures vary quite a bit. And, of course, as you get to the southwest, or the southeast rather, obviously you're getting farther away from the drier air that's moving in and will be moving in behind that dry line. And speaking of dry air, you can see that there's not a whole lot of that around right now. Current dew points, we're at the low 60s in terms of dew points, and that humidity has been increasing throughout the day. So we will continue to watch that, and that will continue to factor into what we'll be watching later tonight as this whole system moves in. But the cold front does move in, so early tomorrow morning, we will be kind of chilly out there, low 40s, and this will actually be warm in terms of lows, and we won't get much warmer than this tomorrow, but we'll get to that here in just a few moments. So here's one thing I want to show you, and this is the water vapor. Obviously, it looks like there's a lot of dry air. This is much higher in the atmosphere, so there are two things that will likely impede severe storm development tonight. First of those being the cap that is in place, and the last indications from the National Weather Service are that the cap is still in place. It's weaker, but not that much weaker. It's still kind of hanging on. It's being pretty stubborn. So as we go forward, that will help determine what we see in our area. The cap is still in place over North Texas, obviously not in place over the Wichita Falls area, but the cap remains in place over North Texas between Waco and Dallas. They're really between Waco and the Red River for the most part here. And the dry line is a little further to the west here, and that's going to be the other thing, is we have this upper air, this upper dry air that's in place. So you see that we have these little areas of moisture where these storms have developed, but around it, it's a little more dry. So we're looking at the possibility that if the storms do manage to break through the cap and the cap manages to break, then this upper level dry air could also impede some of that severe weather. So not looking like that great a chance. It's kind of looking right now like we might get 1, 2, maybe 3 severe storms throughout the whole area. And again, from there, it looks like I-20 North is really going to be the focus area for that. So Ellis County may not see much tonight, but I will be watching that thin line of showers, maybe some thunderstorms that will move through. We're looking at probably somewhere around 11 o'clock to midnight. I think that's the timing. I would even say 10 to midnight, just in case it somehow gets here a little bit earlier. But between 10 and midnight is that timing on that, and I'll be posting more on that in its own post later this evening. I know you guys want to know that timing, so I'll make that its own post that I'll share after this. So let's talk about the setup here that we're actually looking at. So if you've been in my school classes recently, I keep mentioning those, but we keep getting these textbook examples. You know, this is where we're talking about all these different air masses that are going on. We just talked about the dew points with all this Gulf moisture. Here's that dry line that's bringing in some of the dry air behind it. The warm, the cool air behind the cold front pushing all of this to the east. And this is a springtime setup. This is what we would normally be looking at in April, May, early June for the development of severe weather. we have the dry line in place. That will increase the lift in the area, as will the low pressure system in general. So as it continues to move on to the east, we will see more development, especially closer to, this shows a stationary front. This is mostly the warm front that moved up from the south and brought all these high dew points and these warm temperatures in. So we're in the warm sector, and as that continues to move east, we will see more development, most likely, again, unless the cap and that dry air higher up in the atmosphere can impede those storms from developing. All in all, though, we have things in place for severe storms to be possible, mostly to our north. All that to say, crazier things have happened, so I will be monitoring this throughout the evening. One last thing I want to show you, this really has not changed throughout the day. This has pretty much stayed the same. We had this yesterday adjust to where they took our area out of the slight risk for severe weather. So that, again, starts really at I-20 north, and then on to the east from Tyler, Jacksonville, really from about Tyler to Nacogdoches on east. And then tomorrow, this will continue on to the east farther and make quite an event for Mississippi, Alabama, that area. For our area, though, we are only under the marginal risk, and that's only most of Ellis County, part of Navarro County, part of Johnson County there. So really, again, north of I-20 is where they're expecting to see most of this activity, but I'll keep an eye on it just in case. So here we are. Again, I'm keeping this at a 30% chance. I think later tonight we may have a better chance of getting some activity as the front moves through. Looks like, again, we could have a thin line of showers, maybe a few thunderstorms develop. But as far as the severe weather is concerned, things are staying on track for that to stay north of us. It's been a bit windy today, that south wind, and obviously very warm. We beat the 75-degree high for today. Not by much, but we were pretty much around there. Tomorrow, a very different story. 45 degrees for that low, for that high. It sounds like it should be our low, but for that high, and then our lows are in the upper 20s, so it's going to get very, very cold. The good news is, though, there won't be any moisture to create any ice. Friday, we're a little bit warmer, but overnight, back down to 30 degrees. Saturday, we start warming up with those southerly winds. It's our last cool day across our area, 55 degrees overnight in the upper 30s. Then we're back to the 70s, and man, we almost get to 80 degrees on Monday. I mean, take a look at this. We're at 70 today, 75, 76, 77 in our area right now, 45, 49, 55, 70, 78, 77. I mean, you can't get better than this as far as Texas weather at its finest. Low chance of rain on Tuesday. That's a little far out. We'll get more information on that going forward. Sunday looks windy as we start pumping those temperatures up. So keep in mind that if you don't like the cold temperatures, we have a cool day tomorrow, a couple of cooler days over the next couple of days, and then we're back to the 70s. So keep an eye on Ellis County weather tonight as I monitor the cold front that's coming in. Again, the best chance for severe weather looks to be north of our area. It's been staying consistent throughout the day. So in case there's a couple of changes, we shouldn't have to deal with any severe weather tonight. Could have a few showers and thunderstorms move in along that cold front. But besides that, the big story going to be tomorrow, as it's much cooler than it has been recently. And then it doesn't last long before we're warming up quite a bit next week.